Alright, what's happening everybody? It's your boy Akeen and welcome to today's vlog. Here to give you another scout report on a quarterback who I believe has the potential to become a good fit at running back in the National Football League. I'm talking about Jerick McKinnon, the quarterback coming out of Georgia Southern. Now he's a great versatile athlete and I think he could emerge if he makes the transition at running back, in which he did. He had an outstanding scouting combine in which he ran a 4.40 and bench pressed 225 pounds 35 times. I read in multiple sources he had over 30 reps at 225 pounds, and that is extremely impressive. And he's really a quarterback, even though he is more of a running quarterback because of the tradition at Georgia Southern. They are a running team, and the quarterback is like a running back, a third running back in that read option offense, which they did have. Now let's talk a little bit about history about this particular player. He had 3,899 yards rushing in his career as an Eagle and 42 touchdowns, and he was very versatile. He started in many positions. He was at quarterback, running back, defensive back, slot back, and receiver. Played many positions, and he even worked as a kick return specialist. And I think that's a good plus for him headed towards this year's draft and making it to in that National Football League. Now in his career, I mentioned his yards overall, but he had a couple of good games against good FBS opponents. Even though he did play in the FCS division, a lower competition, but he did play against FBS opponents, Georgia in 2012, in which he rushed for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. And in this past season, he had 225 yards in the game-winning touchdowns to help shock Florida this past season. A big game for them headed towards the end of the year. They ended up winning 26-20 in that matchup. Now let's talk about his strengths headed towards his draft. Now he definitely looks the part at running back, and he has a well-built frame at 5'9", 205 pounds. Good size overall at running back, and I do like his speed burst. He's able to read the blocks pretty well and actually cut well. He has great bursts among his cuts, and he reads blocks very well. Running a lot as a quarterback, he was able to understand the offensive line and read blocks and run in between the tackles. Also, he did play, like I say, he's very versatile, played many positions, and I think he could be a good physical runner in this National Football League. Now, some of his weaknesses, he's a little bit raw, and he has a lot of experience more as a running quarterback, but not too much as a running back, which is a little bit of concern for scouts out there headed towards this draft. He was more of a read option quarterback and needs to make the transition at running back, but I don't really think that's that big of a deal. Now, pass protection, he's a little bit inconsistent in pass protections, in which he did show a lot during the Senior Bowl week, and also he does read in between the tackles well and has a good speed burst in running, but in his breakaway speed, his top speed, he sometimes doesn't have too well top speed, in which allows defenders to catch up from behind, but he definitely handles the ball well when he has the ball in his hands. He doesn't fumble too much, which is a plus headed towards this draft. Now I think he could be a good player, just like his former teammate in J.J. Wilcox. He was actually selected in the 3rd round of last season's draft by the Dallas Cowboys. J.J. Wilcox was a versatile athlete coming out of Georgia Southern as well, and I think this could be the same for Jerick McKinnon. I have him projected headed towards this year's draft in the 4th round. Now he possesses everything you want. He's very tough, and he has an outstanding work ethic, and he's willing to do whatever it takes for a team. He's a good player overall, very versatile. He can play multiple positions. I think he can even play an H-back position, slot receiver in some cases. Even though he wasn't used too much as a receiver at Georgia Southern, he only had 3 receptions for 23 yards back in 2013 this past year. But he's not too much of a receiver, but I think he can be used as a receiver. Even as a fullback, he might even be able to block for you guys, but even be used as a quarterback in wildcat formations. I think he'd be used in many different ways, and I think he could be a good asset to the teams in the National Football League. Now, because I believe he could be such a good athlete, I had him becoming a 4th round pick headed towards this year's draft. That's where I projected him. I think he could be a good gem at number 4 and work his way up to have the potential to become a good starting running back in the National Football League. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys is tomorrow, where I will give you another scout report. I'm going to talk about a quarterback for tomorrow, and I'll catch you guys then. Thank you for watching today's vlog. From Pro Football Exclusive, I'm your man Akeen McCall. Be easy.